Start our next topic of our chapter, that is respiration. Okay, we already discussed that respiration is also a life process taking place inside the living organism. So now let's see what happens in respiration. Basically, the process of releasing energy from food is called respiration. What is respiration? The process of releasing energy from our food is called respiration. Okay, so now here the respiration in our body can be take place by two things. First, in the presence of oxygen it can take place. Also, in the absence of oxygen it can take place. If it takes place in the presence of oxygen, then it is called aerobic respiration, and when it takes place in the absence of oxygen, then it is called anaerobic respiration. Okay, generally the aerobic respiration takes place means our food is break down only in presence of oxygen in our body to release a large amount of energy. That energy is utilized for working, growth of cells, repair of cell, etc. So now see what happens. Our food is break down into simple product like carbohydrate is break down into glucose. Then this glucose is again converted into pyruvate with the help of process called glycolysis, and this process takes place inside cytoplasm. After the molecule is converted into pyruvate, then 6 carbon dioxide, 6 water molecule with that 38 ATP energy is released. Here ATP full form is adenosine triphosphate, means this is the large amount of energy released in the process. Okay, and if let's see what happens when this reaction takes place in the absence of oxygen. So there are two ways in the absence of oxygen the reaction can take place. If the reaction takes place in organisms like yeast, okay, how it takes place? So again, glucose is break down into pyruvate by the process glycolysis, and the process takes place in cytoplasm. Then pyruvate is produced. This pyruvate in the absence of oxygen is break down and is converted into alcohol. C2H5 is a type of alcohol and it is a ethanol, and with that CO2 gas is released and 2 ATP energy. The amount of energy released is very less, though energy is produced. If it takes place in our muscle cells, in human beings muscle cells, then what is the end product? Glucose again with the help of glycolysis break down into pyruvate. Then this pyruvate in the absence of oxygen produces 2 lactic acid and 2 ATP energy. Same, the energy is very less. Okay, so this phenomena we can easily observe in our body also when we run for a longer time. What happens? Pain starts occurring in our legs or in our hands. This pain is because of the reason that time our body requires a large amount of energy. Since our body is not getting proper oxygen, since we are running a long distance and we are unable to breathe proper amount of air, so in that reason the food is break down in absence of oxygen to release the energy. The energy released is very less. So the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration is like that. Okay, the respiration if takes place in presence of oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration, and if it takes place in the absence of oxygen, it is called anaerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, complete breakdown of food take place. Here the food gets breakdown completely, but in anaerobic respiration, incomplete or partial breakdown of food take place. If we can see in aerobic respiration, large amount of energy is released. Here lesser amount of energy is released. Then we can say aerobic respiration around 38 ATP energy is released, and in anaerobic respiration only 2 ATP energy is released. Okay, so here this is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration, which is important, so you have to learn it very nicely. Okay, so next is, this is the condition how respiration takes place in animals or in organisms. How respiration process takes place in plants. Plants also requires oxygen for the various purposes. So in plants, respiration takes place through roots, respiration takes place through stems, respiration also takes place through leaves. Stems and leaves, small pores are present, which are called stomata, and through this exchange of gases takes place in condition of plants. Now see, in respiration, what we requires oxygen. So how this oxygen requirement is fulfilled in different organisms. Okay, for that various organs are present in different organisms. Like if we talk about amoeba, it is a unicellular organism. Its body is made up of single cell. Okay, no proper organs are there. So here in this case, the process of respiration takes place through body surface. Okay, the body surface helps in the process of respiration. From the body surface, the oxygen enters inside the body of amoeba. If we talk about earthworm, you can see the body of earthworm. It is very slippery and skinny. Okay, the skin is very delicate and it is very thin. So the respiration process in earthworm takes place through skin. Means oxygen required for respiration is taken through skin. This third, if we see fishes, then in fishes for respiration, gills are present. These are the special organs which helps fishes to live in water and survive there. Then next is frog. You can see that frog can survive both in land also and in water also. So what speciality they have? They have skin respiration through skin also. They can do respiration through gills also, and they have lungs also. Lungs helps them to respire on the land. Skin also helps them to respire on land, and gills helps them to respire in water bodies. The next is humans. So in case of human beings, the respiration takes place through lungs. In this way, the respiration system or the process in different organisms takes place in different manner. Now let's see the process of respiration in human beings. If we talk about the respiration process in humans, then as I told you that lungs are present in human being for this process. Okay, so basically this is the structure of lungs. If we see, these are the nostrils from which the oxygen rich air is drawn into the body. Then from these nostrils, first let's see main organs. Okay, main organs include nose, then nasal passage, then bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli, then lungs and diaphragm. So these all constitute the main organs of respiration. So these are basically what? These are basically nasal passage, and the nose is the external organ present on the human beings through which the oxygen rich air is drawn into the body. From this, the air passes into the windpipe, which is called what? Which is called trachea, through which, okay, this is the trachea, which is called windpipe, through which air passes into the lungs. Then this trachea, when it comes down, it divides into two branches. These two branches are called what? These are called bronchi. Further, this bronchi again divides into fine branches like this. These fine branches, these are called bronchioles. Then these bronchioles, at the end, what is present? Alveoli are present. These alveoli, the function of alveoli is to increase the surface area. Okay, the large amount of oxygen gas is present here, present inside the alveoli, and the fine vessels of blood moving nearer to these lungs, they can easily absorb the oxygen from here. Then downside is what is present? Diaphragm is present. So these all constitute the main organs of respiration in human beings. After the food is digested into the simple product, it should be transported to different parts of the body. Okay, the process of transfer of this food material into different parts of the body is called basically transportation. If we talk about plants, then how transportation takes place in plants, let's see. For transportation of food and water, there are two systems are present in plants, that is xylem and phloem. Okay, these are the basically we can say that helps in the transportation of water and food. This xylem helps in the transportation of water from the roots to different part of the body, and phloem helps in the transportation of food to different parts of the body. Xylem helps in water transportation, phloem helps in food transportation. If we talk about human beings and animals, we have also certain things for transportation of different materials. What we have? We have blood. Okay, blood is basically a red colored fluid present in our body. which helps in the transportation of various materials from part to part. Okay, the main components of bloods are plasma, red blood cells which are also called RBCs, white blood cells which are called WBCs, and platelets. These all components of blood together constitute the our blood. Okay, now have you ever thought that why blood appears red in color? Yes, the blood appears red in color because of a protein present in it which is called hemoglobin. This hemoglobin provides the blood red color. Okay, this hemoglobin also helps in the binding oxygen with it. Through this hemoglobin only the oxygen is transported to different parts of the body. Now plasma, the liquid portion of our blood is plasma. Okay, the liquid portion of our blood is called plasma. Then these RBCs, these are the red blood cells containing hemoglobin which helps in transferring the oxygen. Then WBCs. What is the function of WBC here? To fight against various diseases. So various bacteria or various microorganisms which causes diseases in our body are also killed by WBCs. At last is platelets. Okay, have you ever observed that whenever you get a cut on your body, what happens after some time? The blood stops flowing. This happens because of the blood clotting pigments present in our body, like platelets. Okay, these platelets helps in the coagulation of blood. Coagulation means in order to stop the blood flow outside the body, these platelets helps. So these are the basically how the transport takes place in our body. Now let's see what is the function of blood. Blood helps in the transportation of oxygen from part to part. Okay, blood also helps in transportation of food material from part to part. Blood helps in the transportation of waste material, means whatever waste is produced at the certain points, through blood only it comes to the different parts for excretion. Okay, blood also helps in releasing or transferring the waste materials like urea. So these are the some functions of blood. Okay, so it is a very important factor in the process of transportation. Now we will see the further process how the waste material in our body is excreted. See what is excretion. Excretion means the process of removing harmful waste from the body. And as soon as our food is digested, then the food is assimilated and the undigested food is removed out of the body, that we know. But with that, so many nitrogenous waste are also present, like CO2 gas is present, like urea, nitrogenous gas is present in our blood also. The process of removing that nitrogenous waste out of the body is called what? It is called excretion. So let's see now the excretion process takes place in different organisms, how it takes place. Like in amoeba. Already we know that amoeba is a unicellular and its body is very simple, having no organs. So in case of amoeba, simply through cell membrane, the whatever waste material is there, it is excreted out of the body. If we talk about earthworm, here tubules, tube-like structures are present which are called nephridia, which helps in the excretion of waste materials like CO2 gases and other nitrogenous gases. With that, through moist skin also the excretion process takes place. If we talk about humans, then we have a proper organs for removing these waste materials which are called kidneys, and the functional unit of these kidneys are nephrons, means around millions of these nephrons are present in the kidneys which helps in the filtering our blood. Okay, filtering our blood and removing urine from our body. So, if we talk about the excretory system of human beings, it consists of two kidneys, consists of two ureters and urethra. So, the human excretory system consists of two kidneys, two ureters and urethra. Okay, if we see here in this diagram, these are two different kidneys. Okay, these are the ureters and this is urinary bladder, and this is urethra. What happens? The blood which is to be filtered, the blood which is deoxygenated, okay, the blood which is not pure, it comes through these vessels and it enters into our kidneys. Okay, then millions of nephrons, the functional unit of kidneys, are present, which helps in filtering the blood. Okay, through this afterward, the blood which is filtered again passed to the body, and the blood which is not filtered, it goes from these ureters and it is stored into urinary bladder. So the waste material which is stored in urinary bladder is basically the urine, and it is stored until it is not excreted outside the body, and then through urethra it is expelled out of the body. So in this way, the process of excretion takes place in human beings. Okay, so now we will see the structural unit of human beings. Okay, structural unit of kidney, seeing the structures of kidney and how the basically kidney helps in the formation of urine, means excreting the waste material from our body. If we will see the unit of kidney, means there are millions of small structures called nephrons, like these structures which are present inside the kidney, which helps in basically the filtration of blood. If you will see the parts of this nephron, then you can see here, this is glomerulus, which is densely nerve cells, we can say densely blood vessels, and this is Bowman capsule. Okay, this outside portion where inside which glomerulus is situated. From this dense capsule, from this dense blood vessels, your blood will come here, and from this part, the waste material present in the blood will come and pass through this one, and whatever the substance which is important for our body is absorbed as soon as the blood will flow into this tubules. Okay, so when the blood will flow in this tubule, the whatever things which are required for the body, they are again absorbed into the blood vessels, and through which the clean blood goes outside, and from coming here up to here, the blood, whatever waste material is present inside, is converted in the form of urine, and from this it goes into the urinary bladder, from where it is stored for some times, and then it comes out of the body. In this way, the nephron helps in the filtration of blood. One more question comes here, which part of the nephron helps in the ultrafiltration? So if that question comes, then we can say here the Bowman's capsule helps in the ultrafiltration of blood. Okay, now one more thing is there, that kidney functions basically to excrete the waste material from our body, or it helps in the excretion process. What happens when these kidneys becomes non-functional, or when the kidneys don't function properly? So in that case, two options are there. One is dialysis and another one is kidney transplantation. When both the kidneys, if one kidney is non-functional and one is functioning, then it is okay. One kidney can perform the function of excretion, but if both the kidneys are not working in that conditions, we can do dialysis process and kidney transplantation. In kidney transplantation, the donor's kidney is matched with us and it is transplanted into the body and through operations. And in dialysis process, the blood is filtered outside the body in a machine called dialysis. So this process is called basically dialysis. Thank you.